was cloudy, and so at that time it was real cloudy, so I thought we needed something sunshiny. So I picked 76, wait till the sun shines down. But we can still hope for the warmth that goes with that sunshine. So, number 76. Wait till the sun shines down. Back to number 58 and sing a Rotary song. Rotary will go around the world. 58. Rotary will go round and round and round and round and round. Rotary will go round and round and round and round and round. And if this is
Okay. By a show of hands, how many of you went to the Meeks Stadium for the championship game? Well, let me do it. Who did not go? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Okay. Who did not watch it on TV? Keep your hands up. Who did not listen on the radio? All right, we gotta have fun for that. All right, Coach Meeks, Rensselaer won the state championship, correct?
That's correct.
I have a Post-Tribune sports article right here that says otherwise. This says Rensselaer's Ron Armwood picks up 8 yards on Saturday at Lucasville Stadium. The Bombers rushed for 383 yards in the Saturday state final loss to Notre Dame. I'll pass this around. There's got to be some type. There's got to be some type of conspiracy here. Did we win or did we not? All right. You know, I won't find you the dollar, but the nearest Rotarian, I guess we'll get a dollar. It's amazing, right? All right, we're going to make this quick because we're going to get Coach Meeks up here as fast as we can. Give me half a dollar. Okay. Birthdays and anniversaries. Do you have a dollar? Any other guests?
Bob Kurtz from the great radio station that broadcasts Auburn football, WLQI. Hi, Bob.
Glad to have you.
I have Stephanie Johnson from the REMC. Also, we have Vicki Standish from the Rensselaer Care Center. I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't say Russ Martin is here. You want to say hello to Russ? Also, visiting Rotarian from the Boswell Club, a member of the Brothers Broadcasting team. What was her name? Nicole Johnson.
And
And finally, can I meet anybody else? My lovely wife, Arlene, is here today.
Brad, here from the airport.
Hi, Brett.
Hey, boy, good job. Thank you very much. We're glad you're on. We ran out of the plates today, I think. This is the first time I've ever seen that in a movie before. There are paper plates over there, by the way, if you need to do that. We want to make sure you get nourished today. I want to thank John Ayler for being our greeter today. Dr. John, thank you, and leading us in prayer. Also, Dean, for doing our fellowship today, and Jim and Ann, a usually fine job for our music today. Welcome to everyone here to be at Rotary. This is probably one of the biggest groups we've had for quite a while. I can't understand why that is, Coach. It's just, I'm always worried about this. When we bring the coach here, we're all going to have to stand up and do bomber jams. I don't know if that's part of the deal, work off the food. But anyway, I'd like to bring up the voice of the Rensselaer Bombers to, is there anything else on the floor, by the way? We get to go right to our speaker. And I'd like to ask the voice of Rensselaer Bombers, Bob Kurtz, to do a formal presentation of our special guest speaker for today, Bob Kurtz.
John. I've known Chris Meeks, I mentioned, so at 1999, Chris, when we first came in as a young coach. 16 years, 134 and a 64 record, I believe, a state championship. And this feels like almost Lucas Oil Stadium right here, with a big crowd like this, national anthem, everybody getting pumped up, listen to Coach Meeks and his players. So it's a great feeling out here. It brings back great memories. I know Chris, we talked hour upon hour about the state championship and what it means to not only the school, the players, coaches, everybody, but the whole community. You wouldn't believe how many people from not only Rensselaer, just everywhere in this area have jumped on the bandwagon for the Bombers and really wanted you to do well, and you guys really did well with the Class 2A state championship this year. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up the coach of the Class 2A state champion this year, Rensselaer Center Bombers, Chris Meeks.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here again. I brought two of our players with us. They were in my class, and I asked them if they'd like to come along, and they said absolutely. Trevor Hill, otherwise known as number 5, and number 9, Rylan Arda, who was also the Middle Attitude Award winner for the state championship. Spent some time putting together a handout, a little keepsake. I'm going to kind of work off that. Feel free to ask questions at any time. I'm just going to kind of walk you through the season and give you some thoughts at particular times during the season, and then we'll open it up to questions and answers for myself and the players. So last year I came and I talked about the history of Bomber football and kind of talked about the state of the union address of Bomber football. And with the way things developed this year, I think we'd be more fitting to talk about the season we just had with the state championship. On the front cover of this little booklet I put together, I entitled it "The Fight for the State Championship." And in that picture right there, you see Jackson Anthrop, the star running back, defensive player for Lafayette Central Catholic, and Austin Fleming, number 88, involved in a little tussle. And believe me, our two games with Central Catholic, both of them were tussles, they were fights. And I think everybody knew coming in the summer that with the kids that we had coming back and the success that we had last year, and with Central Catholic, with the success they had last year, the kids they had coming back, there was a good chance that these two teams would meet with the right to go to the state championship. As it turned out, that's the way it was. On the next page, on page 2 there, I've got down at the bottom is our state championship picture. So everything we did through the summer, through our season, through our games, culminated in that one picture right there of our state championship picture at Lucas Oil Stadium. And then up above, the Indianapolis Colts is very involved with high school football, and they do a neat thing, and they honor each high school team that wins the state championship with their jersey. Did you get one, Tom? Bring it up here for John. These guys. And so each championship team from 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, they get their jersey honored, plus the name of their school, and it'll be sitting in there for a whole year. So, you know, it's every school's dream to get their jersey in the trophy case there. On page 3, a season to remember. It all started in June. Actually, it started last year, truth be told. We went to Tipton, and we thought we had an opportunity to beat Tipton in the semi-state. We were all fired up, ready to go. I thought we were very well prepared. But what we ran into was a senior-dominated Tipton team. We played them there. It was our 3rd semi-state appearance, and all 3 times we've been on the road, 2 times at Fort Wayne Lures, and then this particular time at Tipton. And they came out a team possessed. And, you know, whether it was their senior experience or being at home or whatever, they ended up beating us 27-0. The positive thing was the fact that we had a lot of kids coming back off that team. And we had 10 seniors coming back, and then we added an 11th senior, a kicker, Kristen Zisi's son, Nathan, and he came out and joined the 10 other seniors, and that gave us a good nucleus to start with. And then our underclassmen got in the weight room, lifted hard through the leadership of our seniors, and then you could see things developing through the winter months. Then we got to spring, and then finally it was June and time to get out there and actually start practicing football. So we had some summer camps. One of the things we wanted to do is get some tough scrimmages. So we scrimmaged Dan Duran, Indianapolis Bishop Chatard, Hammond Morton, South Bend St. Joseph's, Maryville. All these teams we scrimmaged in the summer to get ourselves in position to have a great regular season and hopefully make a run for a state championship. And during that time in the summer, you could tell our kids were very competitive. One thing that jumped out was how fast we are. And that had been a downfall against the Lures teams and some other teams we played in the past with our lack of speed. We had speed this year. We had mental toughness. Didn't have much size, but we had football players. And that was important. As we got into the regular season, our first game was our county rivals, Kankakee Valley. And what nobody knew at the time was that we had worked all summer on putting a new offense in. We had run a double wing, as Bob calls it, football in the phone booth, where we're foot to foot with a lot of misdirection, but we wanted some more play action out of it. And with our speed, we wanted to be able to get outside and get into foot races with people and make it a real, like I said, a fight, a boxing match during games. And we had our good friend from California, Tim Murphy, who we had come before and helped us with the double wing. He had created a new offense called the single wing out of shotgun. And there's only like 8 or 9 schools in the whole country that run this. So he came out, we spent 2 days with him, and kids really bought into it, worked hard at it, and that's the offense we ran all year, and that's the offense you saw against Evansville Mater Dei. So Kankakee Valley, our first game, nobody had seen it all summer. We hadn't ran it against the live defense, and now here we are in our first game, and I was nervous, very nervous, if this thing was going to work or not. If not, you know. We scored first, went up 7-0, and on our 4th play, we broke loose for a long run, and scored tied at 7-7, and ended up beating the Cougars 60-34. And that was the start to our great season. Then we got into our other non-conference games. North Newton, North Judson, handled them pretty easy. Then came Tipton. And now that the season's over, I can be honest, that's a game that I had circled. And think about Tipton. I don't know if you've been to their facilities. They have top-notch facilities. And there's kind of arrogant to them. They're very arrogant. When they come to Rensselaer, this is the way I feel and our kids feel, they kind of make you feel a little second class. So anyway, when they beat us last year, they rubbed it in a little bit and said some things that they probably shouldn't have said. So once again, I had that circled. And I will tell you, our kids were fired up, ready to go. The halftime score of that game, I believe, was 65-0. And we finished the game with our freshmen. And we actually hollered over to see if they'd like a running clock in the second half, and they said no. So that's the last time we will play them, but we wanted to leave them with a bad taste in their mouth, and we did, 77-0. And did we run the score up? No. Am I happy to see 77? Absolutely. So, next up was Twin Lakes, always a tough game, and beat them 57-14. Then came the true test, West Lafayette. Great athletes across the board, high expectations, ranked in the top 5 in 3A, and they came to our place. And the thing, let me tell you this, come to Rensselaer on homecoming. We always try to schedule our toughest team we can, all right? Unless it's back towards the end, like some Catholic. West Lafayette, we love having them on homecoming. You aren't going to beat us at Rensselaer on homecoming. And that's the way we feel. That's the way our school feels. Our students, our kids get fired up for homecoming pretty good. And we have a feeling when we come out in black, you're not going to beat us in black either. We win all our games at home. And that's the thought process we have, and I love it. So West Lafayette, tough competition. We came out and eventually put the game away 40-17. So a tremendous homecoming win. Then we traveled to Delphi and won that game 49-14. But the game we've been waiting on all year is Central Catholic. And last year we lost a heartbreaker to them 28-27 at their place. And finally the rematch. So it's our great offense against their #1 defense. Well, if you were there the first half, I don't know if we had 10 yards of offense. Their #1 defense handled us, and they handled us very well. You could tell that they were very well prepared for that offense. So one thing, like I said, if you go back in the summer, we didn't run this offense when we scrimmaged teams because we didn't want to show anybody. We'd run shotgun spread. So in the second half, that's what we did against Central Catholic, and we moved the ball very well. And ended up beating them 9-0, knowing that there'll be a round 2. All right? So it was great to get that win, and then we took care of Benton Central on senior night 63-0. All right, so that's the regular season. But all the fun begins in the tournament. That's what we've all been waiting on, is the tournament. The tournament draw comes out, and as you can imagine, the first thing we looked at on the tournament draw is, well, let's just say there is a Central Catholic Rensselaer rematch. Where's that game going to be played at? Are we going to have to go on a road for a 4th semi-state, or can we have our 1st semi-state at home? As it turned out, it looked like we would be at Central Catholic. We were guessing about a less than 10% chance of us hosting this thing. So some things had to happen for us to host it. But number one is we had to win our sectional. So we started off with Hammond Bishop Knoll, then we played at Gary Bowman Academy, won both those games convincingly. Then we played a very good Wheeler team. And Wheeler was a team that has great athletes. They're ranked in the top 10. Everybody talks about their poor schedule, but a good team is a good team, and we knew that. So we went up there and had a tough first half, but eventually built our lead up and ended up beating them 51-7, I believe. So, on to regionals. Bremen, at Bremen. The last time we were at Bremen, it was a overtime thriller, and we won, I believe, 34-27 or something like that, and it was a crazy game. So we knew it was going to be a tough contest. Again, that was a team that was hot, so we had to go up there again, take care of business, knowing that Central Catholic was lurking. They were doing what they had to do over in their sectional and demolished all those teams. So we go up to Bremen and play a great first half, get up 34-0, kind of coasted in the second half, but the bottom line is we won the game 48-13, and now for the rematch. The kicker was this. For us to host that game, Bremen had to go into their sectional, which they weren't favored at all. A team called Woodland over by Fort Wayne was the favorite team, and a team named Eastside. And as it turns out, Bremen ends up pulling a couple upsets, wins their sectional, which allowed us to go on the road for regional, which allowed us to host the semi-state. And I think that was huge. I know we would have won at Central Catholic. I liked it better at Rensselaer, though, in front of the Bomber Nation. So, comes the semi-state. Round 2, Bombers versus Central Catholic. The build-up was huge all week long. TV cameras, reporters, all this stuff. The bottom line, it was going to be a 48-minute game. It was going to be at Rensselaer in front of the Bomber Nation. We were in our blacks, we were at home, and there was nothing that was going to allow us to get beat. In that game, if you were there, we came out, not in our new offense, we came out in shotgun spread. And we introduced them to our quarterback, Dylan Wright. And we used Dylan like a running back that game. They were keying Rylan hard, they were keying Trevor hard, but they forgot to account for number 28, Dylan. And Dylan broke loose for about a 50-yard run early on. And then we got a second touchdown a little bit later in the half. We went up 14-0. And if you know me at all, if I get a lead and I can drain the clock, I would rather drain the clock than take chances. And that's what we did the second half. We just melted the clock, and we were content with our lead. And even though the score was 17-14, you know, it was still a convincing win on our part. And a kid by the name of Nathan Cece stepped in there and had never kicked before, all right, hadn't played football, came out his senior year, and we told him sometime you're going to have to kick a big one for us. And we didn't know when it would be. 1 week, 1 week, 2 week, 3. It waited till week 14, and we needed a field goal, and he stepped right in there and drilled it. Big time kick, and we ended up winning that game 17-14, and that was a huge win. And finally, we're going to state. By now, you've all heard of Lucas Oil Stadium, all right? About 3/4 of my kids had never been there, all right? So it was kind of a big deal. And it was a big deal for us adults, too. We played our semi-state on a Friday night. The following Saturday, Evansville had to play their game against Monrovia. So we had the opportunity to drive down, watch the game, and get to see Evansville modern day firsthand. And then on our way back, we're coming up by 65, and all of us coaches said, let's stop by Lucas Oil Stadium, pinch ourselves and see if this thing's real. So on that picture there of Lucas Oil Stadium, if you look real close there, you'll see 5 coaches standing up on the fence, getting our picture with Lucas Oil Stadium. Just to remind us we got a game there next weekend. So that's what that is. The bottom picture, each team that plays in state has exactly 1 hour to practice on the field. So that Wednesday morning of state, we had an opportunity to go down, and from 11 o'clock to noon, we did a 1 hour practice. We let the kids gawk at the stadium for about 2 minutes, and then we got into a non-stop heavy practice for an hour. And had a great practice, and I think that was huge in terms of the way we came out and looked prepared for our game on Friday. You know, the off factor wasn't there when we came out Friday. The next page, Lucas Oil Stadium, Meet Bomber Nation. One of the things I always tell our kids before we take the field is, you know, when we take this field, just remember we're 6,000 strong. And I come up with that number 6,000 because even though we're 5,000 and something, we round it to 6,000 as far as our population for Rensselaer. But we want our kids to know the tradition and history and our population, our whole community is behind us 110%. I don't care who we're playing. I don't care if it's Andrean or who. You know, we know our whole town's behind us. So when we went down to Lucas Oil Stadium, we knew that our crowd would be there, okay? We just knew that was going to happen. We did not know it would be that big of a crowd. I will tell you, the IHSAA said there was about 12,000 people there for the 2A game. They project that Rensselaer had 8,000 to 9,000 of those people there. And here's the cool thing. I'm just being honest. Winning the state championship was great. Getting the medal was great. Getting the trophy was great. But my favorite thing was standing in that tunnel, seeing the video of our team, okay? And then when it was time for us to take the field, our kids didn't even wait until they're told to go. There's a guy that tells you to go. Our kids, screw it, they're coming. And that showed me we were ready. I knew we were ready. But when we charged that field, I think you could see too, our kids were ready to play. And our kids were so excited, just like the coaches, when we came through that tunnel and saw that sea of black. And it wasn't from 40 to 40, like modern day. It was goal line to goal line, going up a sea of black. And you can't explain how awesome of an experience it was. it wasn't us against the world in that big stadium. You know, Evansville Mater Dei had no chance that day. And usually, I'm just being honest, usually I like to defer. Defer means a coin flip. You know, I get my choice of offense or defense, and I like to put our defense out there. Let's suffocate them. Let them make the big mistake, and we'll get the ball in good field position. As it turned out, we went on offense first, all right? And gotta be careful what I say here. Shove the ball very hard towards them. Stuck it to them pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we wanted to do. Come out, pound them, see how they defended offense. And Ryland had some great runs up the middle, and Hill had some great runs on the outside. But even more importantly, when you watch the game or if you watch the replay, watch the kids blocking for each other. Okay? They take pride in that. The blocks 10, 15, 20 yards down the field, blocking for each other. And there was no egos on this team. You know, they wanted each one to excel. I put some pictures on where it says Rensselaer Central Bombers versus Evansville Mater Dei. Let me tell you this real quick. And those of you down from southern Indiana, you know this. Our kids didn't. All right? I knew it through wrestling, but Mater Dei is a powerhouse down there. And, you know, when you listen to the telecast and they're talking about beating Evansville Rights, Rights is a big school powerhouse. You know, the Evansville Centrals and people like that. Our kids really don't care. You know, all they know is they play some team down there called Mater D, and they're 14-0, we're 14-0. They're big, and I tried to downplay it all week. Big 82, 6'4", the defensive end they had. I'm telling our little backs, he's not that big, you know, all this stuff. And they're telling me after the game, you lied to us. He had veins popping out. But the thing is, our kids are tough. They're football players. They don't back down and they get after it. So put some kind of neat pictures. I really like the one down in the bottom left-hand corner of Ryland Arhood. Trying to fly to the end zone. He was about a foot short on it, but did everything he could to get to the end zone there. Laying out parallel with the ground. The middle picture over on the right is, you know, a great, you know, this is every offensive play. You see all those blockers out in front for Trevor Hill, number 5 there. And down in the bottom right-hand corner, you see Trevor scoring and giving a little emotion there, and that's good to see. So our kids were fired up, ready to go. It was a great time. On the second page is just more pictures of the Mater Dei game, and it's just a great, great experience. It's always been my dream, whether as an athlete or coach, to be a state champion. And I met my dream. That was my dream. All right? It's been every player's dream on our team, too, to be a state champion. They met their dream. All right? But along the way, other things transpire. And one of the cool things I think that came out of this was the tightness that was shown between our community and our football team. And whether it's football, soccer, basketball, or whatever, all right, there is a tight bond between our community and our sports teams and our school in general. And we greatly thank you for that. It's awesome to come through downtown and see the windows decorated. It's great for the great sponsorships and everything that you guys do to help support our teams. And it was a great ride. And, you know, again, thank you. I want to thank WRIN, WLQI, your great coverage of the games. You don't know how many older people in the community contact me, say they wish they could be there, but they hang on to every word you guys say during games. And it's greatly appreciated. So thank all you do. Also, Rensselaer Republican. And got to give a big shout out to Reinforcement Designs. Is he in here? Graham? Are you okay?
I'm finally getting recovered, yes.
I know we kept you busy there for a while, but great job. And man, there were shirts all over down there. And
It's true.
so, anyway, I'll open it up questions and answers if we have time. And I've got 2 players, and come on up, guys. I think they would be great to answer some questions too. Yes.
Who do you call 44 high school players sitting at home watching the game on TV?
Central Catholic.
There you go.
stepped up. Mr. Ernest.
Could you talk about your offensive line? I was so impressed with those guys.
I'll let the backs talk about their offensive line.
Well, we came into the season, a lot of them were young, and even the seniors. Cole was really the only one who's played on offensive line. John didn't get to play a whole lot last year, but it was kind of skeptical at first. But I mean, after that first summer session, we were going up against other people, and I felt like we dominated. And I knew from that point on we had a good line.
The line this year, like they worked really hard because a lot of people said that they're like undersized and that they wouldn't be very good and that would be our weak point. So I think that kind of fueled them to be the best that they could be and work hard for this year. So I think that's part of the reason why they were so good. And they were smaller, so that fit with our offense because they're quicker, so they could pull into the hole because we did a lot of pulls and that kind of stuff.
And one of the things real quick, and Trevor kind of alluded to it a little bit, we had 4 kids that played JV on that offensive line this year. It's not like that line came back, okay? So we had to rebuild our line. Again, June and July, you guys aren't out there, but these kids are out there in the summer on the track. I mean, those linemen are running sprints. They never run out of gas and putting all the time and effort they need to. So we were small, but I thought they were fundamentally sound, very disciplined, and tough, hard-nosed kids. Next question.
How many times have you watched the state championship game and you still get excited about every time you watch it? And how's your life changed? Has it changed at all since you've been a state champion for everybody?
Me, I've probably watched the game like 2 or 3 times. Family Christmas, watched the game with the whole family. It was kind of exciting. Everyone's getting excited. And then I actually took the banner and hung it above my bed. So I'm reminded that we're state champions. And sometimes it's still hard to believe, but it's amazing.
I probably watched it like 5 or 6 times. The most recent time was when we didn't have school one of those days. I just turned it on at night at like 11. And then I couldn't sleep that well after that because it kind of got me excited. And then I think it just kind of, it's a great experience and a great memory to look back. And then also like further on, it'll open a lot more opportunities for you, I think.
Honest Tree. Probably 13 to 15 times. Each time I want to jump in the TV and grab that play-by-play announcer and shake him when he's saying, you know, I don't know why Rensselaer's calling a timeout here. And then, well, that was a good call. I'm glad you did. And you know what I'm saying? The bottom line is this. It's fun to go back and relive that dream. It's fun. And the kids played great. And it's fun to watch them do something. Each time I watch it, I see different things. So it's a great keepsake, and I'll continue watching it. It's fun. Also listen to your telecast too. You guys were awesome too. So hey, another quick thank you real quick. Our Rensselaer Police Department, Rensselaer Fire Department were tremendous as far as escorts and all that stuff, and made these kids feel great coming back into town after winning the championship and seeing that. Russ?
What's the future for Chris Meeks?
Well, winning a state championship is addicting, like I told you. So we're going to do everything we can to get back there again. And, you know, hopefully we can get there a second, third, and fourth time. So that's the plan, and that's what we're going to work on. And as hard as we worked last year, we're going to work even harder and see if we can't. We've got a 2A state championship. Let's see if we can't bring home a 3A now. So, yeah.
How many of the seniors planning on playing on Saturday next year?
Several of them are capable of it, but several of them also want to get started on their careers. Ryland here, I'll let him speak for himself here in a second. I know Austin Fleming is going to go to Indiana State, and he has had other opportunities, but he really wants to go to Indiana State because of his career, his major, and he will get a preferred walk-on there. So not a scholarship, but preferred walk-on, which is a real good thing. And then Ab Kiger, he's talking about playing at Wabash. He also has a scholarship offer from St. Joseph's College, so he'll definitely be playing somewhere And then Riley? No problem.
Right now I'm kind of, I'm still making decisions, but if things work out with Butler University, that might be where I've been talking with those coaches a little bit, and so that might be where I'm going. But I'm not sure. I've also been talking to DePaul a little bit, so.
Yeah.
The coach and players, an observation that a couple of people made about your team, a somewhat unusual one, but I think it's a beautiful thing, is that I reminded onlookers of synchronized swimmers, synchronized ice skaters, synchronized whatever, almost Olympic style, to an extent that other high school teams,
I appreciate that, and I think these guys will attest to our day one practice out of St. Joe. We talked about, we're not going to go out and just physically beat teams with our size. It's not going to happen. Sometimes you can do that. We couldn't do that. We have speed, okay? But the most important thing was the discipline. I mean, we have to be disciplined, and that started from day one. And I appreciate that comment, because I think that's one of the best comments that can come for a team is how disciplined you are. So, you know, every day in practice, we run up to the line, we snap down, we make sure, you know, everybody's focused and everybody's on the same page. And if you can do that for 48 minutes, you're going to beat a lot of teams. And again, I appreciate that comment.
I thought the best game of the year was the first win over Central Catholic, the 9-0. And your offense this year was so vaunted. You know, 52 points a game, but your defense didn't quite get the same amount of attention, but was just spectacular. I mean, to hold Central Catholic to no points. And you look at that first game against KB, that seems to be kind of an aberration, because your defense was just fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your defensive unit, if you would. And secondly, can you share with us kind of who your ambassador to the team was this year and how special that relationship was?
What do you mean, ambassador? Yeah. Okay. I get emotional on that one, so we'll hold that to last. As far as the defense, you're right. And I am the offensive coordinator, but I will tell you, I thought the defense was the best part of our team. Our defense set our offense up in great field position a lot of times. And our two bookends of Dalton Souders and Austin Fleming are as good at football, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, or 6A. Those two guys come hard, and you have to prepare for them. And what that does is it helps the rest of our defense, because they're so focused on defending those two guys on the edge that it opens things up the middle for a Trevor Hill when the game's tied 0-0 to blitz through there and take down their quarterback for a safety to put us up 2-0. Trevor's the guy that got that safety in the end zone. And the thing is, again, we aren't physically imposing. Sam Aylen, another great example. Sam didn't play much varsity last year, played some special teams. Not a real big imposing kid, but a hard-nosed, tough kid, and what we look for in our defense. 11 tough kids that get after it with some speed. And Sam led our defense in tackles this year. And again, he didn't even play varsity much last year. So Brian Sacker does a great job preparing our team. We've got some great schemes, I think. It starts with great players, but also, too, these guys do a great job of film study, knowing what the other team's going to do. When you watch Central Catholic, you got to worry about the draw, right? You got to worry about the screens, and I thought we shut those two things down extremely well this year and forced them to throw the ball downfield to beat us, and they couldn't. So as far as our ambassador, Steve Roberts, last year we presented Steve with a game ball after first sectional victory, and you know, we knew he was battling cancer, and you know, we let him know that we were with him, not just the community, but our team, and I know he greatly appreciated it, and he was a big part of everything we did. And this year, we paid a few visits to him. You know, he would be out in his camper or at home or whatever, and the bottom line is this. Our kids, You know, our kids have an extreme passion for football, but our kids are also very, very compassionate, just like our whole community. And everything he was going through, we all went through. And when we teach our kids about adversity, which every coach does that, Steve was an example that we could point to. And every day he was fighting adversity. And, you know, one of the things that he had told us in one of our moments with him out of his little camper in the parking lot was that it was his goal to see us at Lucas Oil Stadium. That's before the tournament even started. It was his goal to see us at Lucas Oil Stadium. Okay? And, you know, that was his dream. And when we went out there after the semi-state game, we had that planned about a week ahead of time with the seniors. And what we had said is, when we win this game, we will have Roger Matthew pick us up in a bus, and we will head right out to his house if he's not at the game. We didn't know if he'd be there or not. When we found out he wasn't there, we loaded up. And was anybody there out there for that? Yeah, it was compared to Field of Dreams. I didn't think of it like that at the time, but when Steve himself said that, it was. When we turned the corner to park the bus at his house, when you turned and looked, you just saw cars lined up. It seemed like for miles. And they were double parked, and you know, people thought we had over 300 people there. And it was great to see him. As important as it was for Steve, it was important for our kids to share it with him. So, so we didn't know. We had no idea. And about 2 to 3 minutes left before the half, I hear this commotion. I'm trying to call a play, and I hear a commotion. And I can't hear anything. So I'm in a little state of panic. And then I look, and everybody's doing this. And then I look up, and I see why. So that topped everything off by having him there. That was icing on the cake, by having him share that with us. And we have him in our team picture at the end, the state championship picture, and we wouldn't have had it any other way. So we were proud to share that with him, and we were proud that he shared it with us as well. So, anybody else? A round of applause.
I'll let you go. The theme of Rotary this year was Light Up Rotary. And you lit up Rensselaer and made us all proud. And your connection with Steve Roberts was just one part of this whole journey that you took. But it showed that you were not only having young men play football to win, but they were winning in life and learning lessons in life to make them stronger men. And we greatly appreciate your efforts and your hard work to do that. I have a small token of appreciation for the boys, as our theme is Light Up Rotary, so you have a flashlight to find your way back here. This is for you to come back and speak about another victory at Lucas Oil. I did get this from my pastor. He says it's okay that you beat the mother of God this time. So we do appreciate that you did that. And finally, we have a check on behalf of our Rotary Club to use as you see fit. I know there's some rings or whatever you need. It's for your purposes to help the program. And we all appreciate what you've done for us. And congratulations. That'd be good.
One of the things that's going to happen here, boys. You need to model this. One of the things that's going to happen is we're getting a trophy case that's going to be done here within the month. It's going to be a big trophy case, and on each side of it will be shelving for mementos and stuff from that day. And then there's going to be a huge picture that's placed in the hallway by it of when we won the state championship. So all that stuff will be in the hallway within the next month and a half. So.
Outstanding. Congratulations, and thank you so much once again.
Thank you
Big
again.
round of applause. is 737. 737. Right here, Dr. John. Queen of Hearts, 50/50 is 50% goes to the Rotary Foundation and provides water and a lot of other things for people across the world. And I'm sorry I didn't win the stand of the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it there?